In this session, we will talk about Chapter 7, and in Chapter 7, we will discuss arrays. Chapter 7 consists of a number of sections, and we will start with 7.1. 7.1 is talking about basics of arrays. We will use arrays in many applications, so that's why we need to start with the basics of array, how to declare an array, how to do the reading, how to do output, how to do calculation. And once we know these concepts, we can apply it with the classes, we can apply it with many other applications. Just before we go with arrays, let's have a look at this program. And out of this, we will know why we need array. So assume that you need to calculate the average temperature for 7 days in a week. If you need to do this, maybe the program you will have to write, you will read a scanner as usual. So you will say scanner read in new scanner system.n. Then you will ask for the user for values. So you will say, please enter 7 temperatures. We know that if we need to calculate the average, always we start with sum equals 0. We keep doing the summation. At the end, we should divide by 7. So that's why we have double sum equals 0, and then we should have a loop from from count equals 0, count is less than 7, count plus. So the main aim of this loop is to go from the beginning till 7, so we will repeat it for 7 times. Then we will say double next, read next double, so we will read a value from the user. If the value, for example, let's say 38, so we will take this 38 and add it to the summation, and we will go to the next value, read a new value, add it to summation till we finish all the 7 temperatures. At the end, we will say double average equals sum over 7. So what we did at the beginning, we created sum as 0, and then each time we read a value from the user and we keep adding it to the sum. So if the user said the first number is 38, so I will add it to 0 and it will be 38. If the second number, for example, is 2, 2 plus 38 will be 40, and we will continue till we read all the 7 numbers. And then what we need to calculate average. And average, simply we will calculate it as the summation over 7, and this will give us the average. This will be straightforward, where we have to read the temperature, we will calculate the summation, and then average. Now let's assume that we have the same program, but we need to modify it a little bit, such that you have to ask the user for temperatures, you have to calculate the average. Once you are done, you have to go and output the following messages. You need to find out of the 7 temperature which one is above and which one is below the average. I have an example here, so I can show it to you. We need to do something similar to this. I will ask the user, please enter 7 temperatures. We will read all these numbers, and each time I'm reading a number and I'm adding to the summation, and at the end we will calculate the average. So this is the average will be at the end. Now what I have to do, I have to go for each temperature that was entered by the user, and I have to say, is it below or above the average? So I have to go to the first number, 32, because it is compared with the average, which is a 29, I will say 32 is actually above the average. The second number, 30, I will have to mention this is above. The third number, which is a 25.7, we will say this is below. The program we wrote actually will not help us in doing this, because I'm not saving this number, these 7 temperature, they are not saved. What I'm saying, each time I'm saying that I will declare variable next and go to my keyboard and just have the value inside this next. So the first time it will be 32, the second time it will be erased and it will be 30, and then 25.7, and we will keep calling we will keep reading the values, and the last value will be 29, which is the last value read from the user. So I am not saving my numbers, and that's why I cannot go again and I say this is number is below, this is number is above. And which means that I should have a way such that if I'm reading 7 numbers, if I'm reading 800 numbers, whatever the length is, I should have a way that easily will save these numbers for me. So whenever I need them, I have to go back and I can do some calculations, I can do some comparison. And that's why we need what we call as arrays. So in order to deal with arrays, the definition of array is an array is a collection of items of the same type. So usually we define variables. So for example, if I will say integer x, the meaning of this is that I have x declared as a single variable. So I can save only one value in x. So I can say x equal 10. So the value of x equal 10. If I again say x, for example, equal 20, it means the old value will be removed and the new value will be 20. What I'm trying to reach now, I'm trying to have uh, many collections instead of only one, and they have the same name, and of course they should have the same type. So that's why we need an array. So for example, if I have the following, I have double bracket temp equal new double temp. What is the meaning of this? This will create an array of us. So temp is the name of the array. So this will be the name of your array. Double will be the data type. And I need these two empty brackets to indicate that I am declaring an array. If you just leave these double brackets, it means this is not an array. This is only one single variable. And then what you need to do, you will need to continue by saying equal new, double again, the same data type. Between double brackets, now you have to mention a number, 7, 8, 20. And will mean this is the length of your array. How many elements you would like to have in your array? So what we are doing, we are saying, let's have temp. This is the name of my array. It will consist of 7 elements, 7 locations. So I have location number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm having 7 locations, and all of them, they are called within the same name, which is temp. Automatically, the compiler will give each of these locations, will give them a number, an index. And always, the index will start from 0. So always, the starting index, you will notice here this says 0. The second location is 1. The third location is 2 till you reach the last one. So you will notice that if your array is of length 7, it means the last index will be as 6. And because this is your first step of declaring an array, inside the array, what will be saved? We will save the default value. Because we have double, it means the default values will be zeros. That's why we see zeros for all of the locations. Let's have another example of another array. Let's assume I have the following. I'm having integer. So I'm saying the data type I would like to have it as integer. And then I will have a bracket. So it means I need an array, not a single variable. Let's call it, for example, A. So A will be the name of my array. So I'm having A, and A is my array. So if it is a single variable, it means it will be one location. If it is an array, I have to continue by saying equal new. Again, I have to mention the data type, which is integer. And between brackets, I have to mention the size. For example, let's assume that we need only 3 elements. So I will say 3. Now 3, it means you will have location 1, location 2, and location 3. So I will have 3 locations. All of them, they have the same name, which is A. But the difference between each location and the other one is the index. So here you will have index 1. The second one is index 2. The last index is 2. So here you have index 0, 1, 2, and as we mentioned, if the length is 3, it means the last index will be 2. If the length is 7, the last index will be 6. So always the first index as 0 and the last index as length minus 1. The length of your array minus 1. So this is step number 1. To create an array, you need the data type, you need the name of your array, you need to mention the brackets, and then you have to say new double, new integer, whatever the data type you need, and then you have to mention the length. The second thing we have to remember is always our array will start from 0, and always the last index will be length minus 1. Now we need to have a look. How can we access these elements? And how can we say that I will need the first number to have, for example, value 10, the last number to have a value like 20? Let's go back to our small array of integer and then we will apply it to the temp array. So here if I have, this is the declaration of my array, and I declared my array, and as we mentioned, the first time you declare it, all of them, they will be initialized to 0. Now let's assume that what I need to go to location 0, and I need this one not to be 0. I need it actually to have a value which is 10. So in order to do this, if I say simply a equals 10, this will give us a compiling error. And the reason is the compiler will say that a is not a normal variable. A is actually an array. So you have to mention in which location you would like to save 10. So the proper way to do it, I'll have to do it in this way. I have to say, go to my array, between the brackets, I have to mention which index or what is the location. So if I need this 10 to be saved in location 0, I'll have to say location 0 equal the value which is 10. So the meaning of this, I need to save 10 in location 0 of my array. Let's do something similar to the assignment we did. If I say go to my array between the brackets, location 2, and I need the value to be as 100. Now the meaning of this is I need to save this 100 and I need to save it in location 2 in my array. So go to location 2 and the value you have to save is 100. So always what I have to remember that I need to know the location, the index, in order to access the value. We can do something just like we do with normal variables. So for example, I can say, go to my array at location 1 equal array at location 0 plus 1. Now what is the meaning of this? It means go to array at location 0. So this is my array. This is location 0. What is the value inside this location? The value is 10. So I will say I have 10 plus 1, which is 11. Where I should save this 11, I should save it in location 1 of the array. So this is location 1, and the value I have to save it is 11. So just like you say x plus x plus equal y, just you can use it with arrays. Just remember you need the array name, a bracket, which index. We cannot use the array name by itself to do the access of the variables. Let's apply the same technique on the temperature array where we have 7 elements. So for example, if I say temp at location 0 equal 30.5, it means go to location 0 and you have to save the value 30.5. If we say go to location 1, it equals the array at location 0 plus 5. We know the array at location 0 is holding 30.5, so this says 30.5 plus 5, which will be 35.5. I have to save it in location 1, so I will go to location 1 and I will save a new value. Similarly, if you need to do output, you have to do it individually for each element in each index. So here I have system.out.println temp at location 1. So go to the array temp location 1. What is the value inside it? It's a 35.5. So this is the output we will have as 35.5. Remember here, if you need to do output, so we say system.out.println. If I just simply say temp, it will not be accepted. And the reason is temp is a whole array of 7 elements, so I have to specify the index. So that's why I have to say brackets and I have to say which index. And I cannot leave the bracket empty as well, because always, as we mentioned, you should specify the index. Now, if you say index 0, it means it will output 30.5. If you say location 1, it will output 35.5. So you can play with the location in order to do the output. So these are the basic things whenever you need to deal with arrays. And we will move to another example where we have how to declare an array, read values, output values, and then from there we can do other calculations. So we will just recap just to make sure that we know how to declare arrays properly, and then we will go to the example. Now always remember, your arrays always will have the same data type. So always remember this. I cannot have an array of mix of double and integer. Always all of them are double or all of them are integers. We cannot have a mix. Now if you need to declare your array, remember also that always you should have the data type, you should have the bracket, and you just give it a name. So if you say double bracket, it means your array is of type double. Integer bracket, it means your array of type integer. String bracket, it means your array is of type string. Then you will continue by saying new equals the same data type. So if you start with double, you have to say double. And then between the brackets, you have to mention the length. Usually, if you have an assignment, you have an exam question, within the question, they will mention create an array of size 7. Create an array for students, and we have 30 students. So you know out from the question what should be the length of your array. When you create an array, remember, the whole array will have only one name, just like our example here we have temp. But we will have many locations, and always the first location is 0 and it will be incremented. So 0, 1, 2 up to the end. And always we know that if the length is 7, it means the last index is 6. If the length is 100, it means the last index is 99. And then we can do the manipulation of the elements. If I need to access the elements individually, I have to go one by one just by saying the name of the array, brackets, which location. So temp bracket 0, it means the element inside location 0. Temp location 1, it means the element inside 1. Also, if you need to do output, the way you have to do it, you have to do system.out.println, and you have to mention the array and you have to mention in which location. So this is how to create an array and how to access the elements. The next thing we will be doing is we will write a program that we will create an array. We will ask the user to read the values, to input the values, and then we will do output. And if we know how to do these things, then we can move on doing other calculations like maximum, minimum, average, or any other applications of arrays.